Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host Evan Teague, and with me, like always, is Noah Bailey. So, this was supposed to be our yearly recap video thing because we usually do that kind of video at this time of year because late December news usually stops happening. Um, but apparently DC decided the opposite. They're just gonna announce a bunch of stuff, some cool stuff, some disappointing stuff. Um, so we'll just jump right into the disappointing one. Um, the Batman Part 2 has officially been delayed again to October 2027.
Why?
So logically, I can think of a couple. Like I have a list of reasons why, but I'm not going to get into that right now. I just want to dwell on the fact of my disappointment. Yes, this is my most anticipated movie. Period. Like I legitimately at this point think I'm more excited for, especially after finishing the Penguin. I'm more excited for this than I am Beyond the Spider Verse. I think they're really close. They're really close. And like once if the Spider Verse trailer comes out first, and obviously that. But like right now, I'm like Batman.
Yeah.
I'm more excited for this than any Avengers movie. I'm more excited for this than Superman, Fantastic Four, like any other, Dune Part 3, like anything. I'm more excited for the Batman Part 2, or whatever they end up calling it. And especially after, the Penguin wrapped up and teased that Batman symbol. It's like, oh, we only got to wait 2 years. Now, 3.
It's weird too when you just throw that on, like just throw an extra year on it this far away. It's just like, what happened? Like,
Yeah. So here's the logic side of my brain, like reasoning out why this happened and overall why I think it will end up being better because of it. However, like everything, I'd rather it come out now, but whatever. So the first kind of major thing, Greg Fraser was a cinematographer for The Batman. He was also the cinematographer for the Dune movies. And a lot of people were concerned that he wouldn't be able to do the cinematography for both Dune Messiah and The Batman Part 2 because they were both be filming next year to come out, you know, within a couple of months of each other in 2026. And Greg Fraser had signed on to do the Batman Part 2, you know, do that next summer and not Dune Part 3. He got the guy that did La La Land and a couple other, pretty good looking movies, but, like, they're not,
not the
that
same.
Greg Fraser can do a great job doing Dune stuff, but, like, I'm sure that guy can do great, but he's not, like, a known
It's
quantity
not
for this
proven.
franchise. Um, I have a feeling um, now that like I don't know how contracts exactly work. I don't know if he can back out and if did he whatever that the Dune director's name is Denis Villeneuve, I think, if he can back out and be like, oh, actually I want Greg Fraser now that he's available. um, but regardless, it will allow Greg Fraser to work on at least some other projects in the meantime while the Batman is still being worked on. Another thing is, Matt Reeves is kind of notorious for being a perfectionist when it comes to his script writing. Um, he apparently only ever presents one script as the final screenplay. He doesn't like present it and then the studio makes tweaks and then sends it back, and he like like he wants his finished project to be as good as possible the first time. So James Gunn is letting him, do his thing. You know, they delayed it that far out so Matt Reeves can make sure that the Batman Part 2 is as good as it could possibly be. I'm going to pause right there because I know the writer's strike happened last year. I completely understand that. So you had 6 months or so delayed where you can't really write for this movie. But that's almost 3 years away from now. Like you don't have like a basic concept. You can't really start casting or like you can't start anything to the point where once the script is finalized, you can't just like fast track it. You got to wait another year.
Right? That's kind of what I'm saying. It's like you're just throwing a year on. You're just like, eh? Like, is there more to this than that? Like, and I guess too, it's like I respect the whole script thing. You want, it's worked so far. Do what you do, but it's also like, I mean, is that really necessary? Especially if we're just trying to get off the ground. Like, hey, like
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of running behind. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of this and that, so we can kind of have some stuff already ready or getting ready.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they end up doing. But I mean, like
Yeah.
it's disappointing, yes. But again, I guess in the back of your mind, you're also like, kind of the same thing with the Spider-Verse thing. It's kind of like I'd rather wait and it be as good as it can be than rush it and then it's not that good or it doesn't have the same, it doesn't hit the same way as the first one or the Penguin did.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we'll see. But
Yeah. And there
what
are,
else?
I still think there are a couple of other factors leading to this. One, a Clayface movie was announced a couple of weeks back
Mm,
to be a part of the DCU, which meant that there were apparently going to be at least three, maybe even four different DC projects released in 2026. The Supergirl movie, Clayface, and then the Batman Part 2, maybe one other thing. Oh, the Lanterns project. I think that's coming out on HBO in 2026. So at least four different, you know, DC projects happening in that year alone. And James Gunn was asked directly, "Hey, with that Clayface movie coming out in September of 2026 and the Batman coming out in October, are you afraid of that cannibalizing each other?" And James Gunn was like, "Oh, I'm not really worried. Clayface is part of my universe. Matt Reeves is doing his own thing, so they're not really gonna not really gonna interact with each other. Like it'll be fine." Which I appreciate the confidence, but also I'm more worried about the Clayface movie flopping more than anything. I don't think. I think the guy was more so like, hey, how like do you think the Clayface movie will be fine next to a Batman movie?
You're like, hey man, you think Matt? You're like, hey, you think it's gonna be okay? Oh yeah, I'm sure Matt will do a good job. He'll probably be okay. It's like, yeah, we weren't really worried about Matt's thing. It's like, you think you're like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I hear Clayface movie, not Batman with Clayface, but Clayface movie, I get
Mm,
flashbacks to Sony. So like, you know,
that's fair. Yeah.
okay. Like, I mean, as more details come up, we'll see. But initial
Mhm.
thoughts are definitely red flag.
We'll see. Yeah, I'm okay with James Gunn going crazy with it, like
Yeah.
greenlighting any cool idea he has presented to him as far as it's head of DC Studios, sure, but it is definitely a choice to not introduce Clayface as the villain of a Batman thing, but whatever, he could still show up in a future Batman project, so it's not a huge deal, I think.
But like, it kind of is though.
Yeah, it kind of
I
is
don't
though.
know. Like, I hate that, especially this early. That just feels really a
Yeah.
red flag.
How much of Creature
I don't love
Commandos have
that.
you seen?
I mean, I've seen some. I'm not completely caught up, but
Okay. He
I don't
he
know.
was the character of Clayface was teased in an episode of Creature Commandos that I guess you haven't seen yet. So and like that show is connected to James Gunn's bigger DC universe.
Mhm.
So like I assume that Clayface is gonna be the one that will be in that movie, which I think could work, but
Again, this early
we need
in.
Superman to come out first and then decide how we feel going from there.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
like, I mean, well, as it all happens and it continues to unfold, I'll reserve my judgment for then. But as of this
Yeah.
moment, it's a slight concern.
Yeah. Another reason why this movie was potentially delayed is that Robert Pattinson was recently cast in uh, Christopher Nolan's upcoming movie, which is based on the Odyssey. And he's apparently
Mm,
playing Poseidon in that. So it's not like a major role. He wouldn't not like top billing or anything, but he's still,
yeah. There's
in a
a
Christopher Nolan
lot
movie
of
also coming out in 2026. So
right.
yeah,
Right. And there's some serious casting in that movie as a side note. Like
yeah, like
it's a
Christopher Nolan
lot of people.
always has top tier casting, but yeah, like Zendaya, Tom Holland, Matt Damon, um, there's
It's
one or two other like kind of big names also.
it's
But
Anne
yeah,
Hathaway,
yes,
a few others, but like it was like a lot of household names, and I was kind of
mm,
like, wow,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
but yeah, I mean, well, yeah, that's 2026, right? You
hmm
said,
yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll
So
probably keep tabs
that
on
and
that.
the Batman would potentially be filming around the same time. So I could
Hmm.
understand, on top of the script is not being ready, Matt Reeves wanting Robert Pattinson to be
Batman,
available for his thing. So,
right?
and
And I
also
mean, like,
not to diss Matt Reeves. I like his movies more than Nolan movies, but as far as the
but
industry is concerned,
yeah, you don't
you
say no to
agree to
Chris
the
Nolan,
Nolan movie.
right? Right? You're like, hey, we can move the Batman movie, kind of like,
Yeah,
we can move the Batman. Like if Chris Nolan, if we say, hey, Chris, can we? Well, Chris will replace you with some, what's Cillian Murphy's just waiting to take your spot
for
anyway.
real.
So let's, we say whatever
Yeah.
he wants before it's
Uh
too
huh.
late.
Yeah, him, Tom Hardy, like we got somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's got his guys, it's one call to Michael Caine, it's over. Like it's
Yeah,
just,
Christian Bale. Like we replaced the
yeah.
Batman with another Batman.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably kill it still.
Yeah. And my
Why is he
last
still doing the
little.
voice?
He's Poseidon doing his Batman voice. That's weird.
Right?
Okay, sure.
It's like, I'm the god with the same.
Where's my trident?
Right? Like, where's the trident? You never give it to an ordinary citizen.
So the last this is complete speculation, but I feel like a lot of things are lining up where, and I'm still like flip flopping of if I even want this to happen, but it's lining up where with this delay, and with this delay, and also Andy Muschietti, whatever how you pronounce his name, the guy that directed the Flash movie, which most of that's not necessarily his fault, but also some of it is his fault. The guy that directed that movie, apparently James Gunn told him that he can direct Batman Brave and the Bold. And that movie never had a hard release date, but apparently, and the director said that that movie has been indefinitely delayed so he can work on other projects. So with the DCU's Batman movie getting delayed, and with the Batman Part 2 getting delayed, and this weird Clayface movie getting put in basically, where the Batman 2 is going to be, and other Batman projects being announced or teased, I would not be surprised if they just kind of retroactively decide, oh yeah, actually the Batman is a part of this universe.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, do you think so? I mean, oh,
It
really?
would definitely make things easier. It would make things it would it would help general audiences to be less confused to have multiple Batman going at the same time. It would allow this Clayface movie to actually matter. It would allow a world's finest movie to come pretty quickly after the Batman Part 2. You already have two great actors playing Batman and Superman. Assuming Superman does well, and then the Batman Part 2 does well. I don't think you would even really need to change the script of the Batman Part 2 very much outside of like an after credit scene or like a reference to Superman or the Daily Planet somewhere. I think it could even be a fun thing of like if something big is happening and like there's a gaggle of reporters like uh, Clark Kent is just like among the group. Like you know, it's not like focused on that he's there. You know, something like that. I think could incorporate it smoothly, and then because the general audiences they don't. You need to understand that the general audience, I'm sorry to say, is very dumb. They don't really know the difference between the Batman's universe and James Gunn's DC universe. So nothing will change for them. It's just the loud people on Twitter who will care. And as long as Matt Reeves is still able to keep complete creative control of his projects, I don't really see why it would matter where it goes. You know?
Yeah, it's true. But
I still don't know if I want that necessarily. I could see it working, but I also I kind of want a a Batman movie in this universe to already be pretty beg
yeah,
along with like a full Bat family. That sounds like a fun idea. But also, I kind of want to see this Batman get a Robin, and that won't happen if Brave and the Bold happens. I don't know.
well, it's weird because it's like I understand they're all doing their own thing, but like it definitely doesn't feel like this. It kind of feels like when like that's not even a good comparison. I don't know. It just this doesn't this doesn't really feel like the universe that based on this Superman trailer we just got,
Mm.
this universe that we're getting very much seems not at all like what we have in that Reese universe. That's kind of like, I think it's very good to keep these things very separate just because it works a lot better that way, even though it would be nice to, we can see a Robin. Like, I don't really see a Robin in this continuity, especially if Batman feels kind of young, kind of
Wow.
inexperienced. And I know Batman doesn't have to be like 100 years in before he gets Robin, but like, especially with what we've seen and how gruesome this Gotham is with the Penguin, it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know, bring a kid out to this, just feel like, I say that as Vic was out here, but like bring a kid out to this violence
Yeah. I
feels kind
mean,
of like,
well,
well,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you know what I mean? Great. I don't think Batman's gonna do what he did, but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, you can't bring a kid out to all this, and it's like, oh well, yeah, but he's a
Yeah, you
villain.
really
That doesn't
shouldn't.
count.
I kind of a couple of things about that. One, going back to just how stupid the general audience is, even
Yeah.
even like actors don't seem to really understand different universes. All the people who signed on to the Sony villain movies thought they were in the MCU.
Yep.
Like
Well,
Sydney
it's like
Sweeney. Oh no, I'm blanking on her name. Lady who played Cassie. 50 Shades of Grey. What is her name?
no, gosh,
Right?
had it,
Where did it go?
had it.
Oh,
I definitely had it in it. Hold on, Google. Oh my gosh. I know the name and it just immediately Dakota Johnson, thank you. But yeah,
yeah. She
yeah,
thought she was
I
signing
just
on to an MCU role. Like,
yep. I
no.
mean, it kind of tells you that like one, actors don't watch movies like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Which, I mean, I get it. You're in a bunch of movies, you probably don't want to watch a bunch of movies too. But yeah, I mean, they hear Marvel. Oh, Marvel. Oh, Marvel. Okay.
Yeah.
Marvel movies, which like is kind of, I mean, I'm sure Sony wasn't quick to like remind them or correct them before they signed on because,
Hmm.
they probably wouldn't get anybody if they told them really what they were getting
Yeah.
into. But I feel like the only person who knew was, oh my gosh,
Tom
Craven slash
Hardy. Oh,
Quicksilver because he
yeah.
actually
Mary
like,
Taylor Johnson.
yeah, he actually knew the difference because he's been in both. But other than him, I
Yeah.
feel like everyone else was like bamboozled.
Mm. So yeah, not
Even like
only.
with the
Oh,
Michael Keaton thing, it's kind of like, oh, make a cameo
well,
in this movie. Oh yeah, wait. Wait,
What?
wait, what?
That's his own
Season,
can of worms that I
right?
hope the
Yeah, yeah.
TVA just decides now that it
Yeah,
happened.
we're just not gonna talk about that, I guess. But like, yeah.
um, so to your point a little bit earlier, where you were saying that this Metropolis feels completely different than this Gotham.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the point, though. That works for Gotham to be completely different from Metropolis.
I mean, yes, that's true. But like there's a difference between like like it's like cartoonish, like how like when they're in together it's like Gotham's like cartoonishly bad compared to like Metropolis.
Mm-hmm.
Metropolis dogs are barking, birds eat seed out of your hand. Gotham, like the street lights turn out, like the like
Uh-huh.
garbage cans blow up, like everything's just like cartoonishly bad. It's like the Harley Quinn show. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
stuff just grabs people on the streets and like what I mean, like it's like more
Mm-hmm.
like almost jokishly bad versus here it's like actually really bad and dark and gritty. And I guess
Mm-hmm.
it could work, but it's kind of like it almost doesn't feel like it's like working off the same vibe just in the opposite direction. It's more just like two different types of things. But then again, maybe that's just my opinion. Maybe that is kind of the idea, so I don't know.
Like I said, I could see it working either way. Like whatever they decide, go for it. But James Gunn has been very clear that it would be cool if they were in the same universe, but he wants Matt Reeves to do his own thing. It sounds like he's not actively pressuring Matt Reeves to do anything, but if they come to an agreement that you know that Matt Reeves will allow this Batman to exist in a greater DCU, I could see it working. Especially if Matt Reeves isn't planning on using Clayface in the Batman Part Two, which we have almost no information on at this point. We just know that more crime will happen. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we get it. That's Gotham. Like if Clayface was never going to be used in that movie, well, and or if he, it depends on what kind of Clayface, because like you could do a more grounded Clayface like they did in that Cape Crusader show, which was kind of okay. Um, but or you could go the full big monster. Like I could see a world where either could work for the Batman, but who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll kind of see, but I think it would limit because of Batman's like extended rogues gallery, how much his characters affect other characters in the DC universe as a whole. If you
Mm-hmm.
kind of lean into the whole like grounded, gritty style that the Batman's done, but then
Mm-hmm.
connect that, it kind of, or at least I guess it would limit how they would be in other areas in the like expanded universe. Because like even Batman as a whole does not feel like it feels like that
Yeah.
Batman feels like, yeah, you're just a guy in a suit. You can't help the
Mm-hmm.
Justice League. Versus
Yeah.
like, comic, real comic Batman, you're like, this guy's the guy you need to worry about.
Yeah. I also, if if they do end up making this Batman a part of the DC universe, I would want them to at least kind of retcon this Joker, because obviously we didn't really get a good look at him in the actual movie. We really just heard his voice. So you could probably change his look and you could get away with it, especially with so much time passing between movies. Um, I would appreciate more if they made this Joker like someone that you could easily see work off of a Lex Luthor in a World's Finest
Mm,
or some kind of Legion of Doom esque thing.
yeah.
Whereas the way this Joker looks right now, from the lead scenes and stuff, I don't really want to look at him at all. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, again, because like, yeah, that's the thing. It's like if they don't do it to the way where the Joker just feels like he could be a Batman anywhere, it's like again, it's one thing if he's if he's a big deal for just this world versus just in general. But I don't know.
Mhm.
I think it's better to keep it separate just because it's been working for Matt Reeves' world. I feel like the more you try to add outside of just this continuity, the more it could get not tainted per se, but like I don't know, like you kind of keep what's working itself, and it kind of gives you the chance to kind of really do Batman the way James Gunn might want to do Batman too. Because again,
Right.
if it was like it's one thing to like, oh yeah, we can keep Peacemaker, we can keep what kind of smaller stuff, but like Batman's the arguably the biggest pillar of your universe, so like
Hmm.
you probably want to do them your way,
Right.
but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, speaking of pillars of the universe, moving over to Superman. Um, so that Superman teaser trailer came out a couple weeks ago, and in its first 24 hours, that Superman trailer was viewed across all platforms the fifth highest amount of times for any trailer. Yeah, it was viewed over 250 million times. Um,
Oh my god!
and here are the trailers that were above it. So
Star Wars.
from like 4 to 1, the
Yeah,
the official in-game trailer,
makes sense.
the in-game teaser trailer,
Of
the
course.
No Way Home teaser trailer, the one that like had
Nice.
Doc Ock at the very end,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then the Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, like
Really?
the Super Bowl one.
That's kind of surprising. I'm not gonna lie. I was really expecting one of the Star Wars ones to be in there. The
Oh
newer
yeah,
one.
huh?
That's kind of shocking. I mean, the Endgame one makes 100% sense.
Yes.
Everyone ever had to see because you had to see what happened. Having it be both is hilarious. Two of them is being
Yes.
hilarious though.
Uh, yeah.
And then
Spider-Man,
Spider-Man,
that makes sense.
Deadpool and Wolverine kind of surprised me. Like I knew it was a big deal, but top five all time is a
I
little
kind
unexpected.
I kind of wonder if that number includes views of the Super Bowl.
Oh, that wouldn't be fair then.
I know,
That
but I wouldn't be
because
surprised
like,
if that's how the metric is determined because it's on
but if
all
that's the
platforms.
case, yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh, see, well, that's the case. That's totally not fair. Because again, I mean, people are just watching the Super Bowl. It's not like I watched the whole Super Bowl
You
for
but
a
you watch it for the
30-second trailer.
commercials, and
I mean, yeah,
this
but
was a
not just
commercial there.
one commercial. I mean, yes, like everyone watches the Super Bowl for commercials. I mean, most people don't care about the actual game, but it's like it's you can't. That doesn't. You can't be like, oh, everyone tuned into a 3-hour football game plus an hour halftime show and a billion commercials just for the one Deadpool and Wolverine commercial that you had
Yeah,
no idea when during the game it was playing.
yeah. Also, keep in mind that the title of this movie wasn't announced before that trailer came out. It was just Deadpool 3 or Deadpool, Deadpool
Um,
sequel. So this was the first time we knew it as Deadpool and Wolverine. So that might have, created
because
buzz
we
for
didn't
the
even know
trailer
Wolverine
itself.
was going to be. Did we
We
know
knew Wolverine
Hugh
was going to
Jackman was
be
going
in
to be in
it.
it?
We knew he was going to be in it. We didn't know the name of the movie.
Okay,
And
okay,
then
but
Deadpool
still
and
top.
Wolverine.
But still, top five ever feels like a lot. Like the other ones all make
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
but
I
it's
think
like
if you don't include that for whatever reason, the Infinity War teaser trailer is would be number 6, or I guess 5 in this case. So
yeah, that count.
that
That
makes
was
also
like
makes sense.
yeah, that one
Fun
makes sense.
fact about
Whatever.
Deadpool and Wolverine. Apparently, for the longest time, this movie internally was called not Deadpool and Wolverine. It was called Deadpool and Friend. That's the name that Ryan wanted the movie to be called. Like posters were made, like everything was like the trailer was ready to go, and then the trailer, like the trailer didn't get leaked, but like the name got leaked like a day or two before the trailer went out. So Ryan Reynolds was like, he saw the reaction to that name, and everyone hated it, and and people were giving suggestions, and he was like, "We should just call it Deadpool Wolverine. Hey, can we change everything?" And people were like, "It costs a lot of money to fix it." Like, yeah, whatever, just do it. They did it. So
Just
Deadpool
do
and
it. Just do
Wolverine,
it.
that was the correct move.
Just do it. I'll take the heat for it. Just do it. Just go for
Yeah.
it. I mean, that was definitely the right decision because I mean, even
Yeah.
if Friend was like with like claws or something through it, it's
Hmm.
still again like kind of like again not the review, but like what like you said earlier, audiences are a little sometimes. So again, straight to the point. The title's exactly what it is. No game. I mean, even
Hmm.
with this whole Superman movie, just Superman.
Super.
No, no. Oh, Superman Legacy. Oh, Man of Steel. Superman.
Superman. Yeah.
No games. No confusion. Everyone knows what Superman is. Even if you don't like, own a TV, you know about Superman. It's okay.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
you were trying to make this as good as possible. And again, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's all you
Yes.
need.
And it very much so was also a Wolverine movie. So yeah, he should be in
Yeah,
the title.
yeah. No, I think the name was very appropriate. And yeah, I mean, Deadpool and Friend just kind of feels that. Yeah, that is kind of just a bad name. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. It's just
Uh-huh.
not your best work, Ryan.
Um,
But hey, we fixed it.
but yeah, the teaser itself on Warner Brothers page passed up the total views of the first trailer for the Batman back in 2021
Mm,
within 5 days. It already eclipsed 42 million
yeah,
views.
dang. Ah,
Let's see what it's at now. On DC's official. Oh yeah, we're at 49 million now. So good. That's just on one channel.
yeah, that was on multiple channels too. That's the thing. But no, I mean that's good though. I mean, it was, it was a lot of movie, and it was pretty good too because it's one of the things where you're excited for this movie. You're very, people seem very like. I mean, I'm not gonna say everyone loves it, but I don't think too many people hated the trailer. I
Yeah.
think it's gonna be, I think people are excited just to see Superman, be Superman for once in
Mm,
a while. And yeah, I mean, I think it's going to do really well. I think the advertising for it, I think the next trailer, as we get more details, is going to do very well. And,
mm.
it's as we get closer to the actual release, I think people are ready. I know I'm ready. I'm got to get my costume.
Yes. Yes. I'm just glad that people didn't, write off Superman. Like they actually, like people clearly, like it's the fifth or, or arguably fourth if the Deadpool thing did go how I thought it did. Fourth or fifth most viewed trailer of all time. Like clearly people, either there's like six passionate people who watched it 100 million times each, or or like so many people are seeking out a good Superman. And yeah, that's wonderful to see. I think.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. I mean, and I think it's one of those things too where like, yeah, like I think it's good just for like not just for like people, but it's like it's good for like the producers, series creators, and just people who make content to know like, hey, sometimes things are good the way they are. We don't have to try to put
Mm-hmm.
these twists on this or oh, we got a new gimmick. There's some
Yeah.
reason some characters are classic and timeless because, being Superman and just being a good dude who's got awesome powers is just kind of cool. And that's
Yeah.
kind of it. You don't have to make it, change it. I mean, even with like, a lot of these like Elseworld Superman stories that are actually like, comic and stuff. It's like, I mean, like I've never been big on like Red Sun Superman or
Uh,
like Injustice and stuff like that. I mean, like it's cool to have different stuff to like, to change it up. But really, I'm like, I kind of just like Superman stories, like
yeah. Yeah. He can still go through hardship, but like, don't make him sad like the
yeah, or
entire
evil,
time.
or yeah, it's like just yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've always said it's like people feel like, oh, well, Superman. It's hard to write for Superman because he's super. It's like I feel like
Yeah.
you just need to write better,
Yeah.
like so. Because like even in this movie, I mean, this from what this trailer shows, I mean, obviously there's a giant monster in the trailer, so like there's gonna be some punching. I mean, he got blasted to the Arctic clearly, but at the same time,
Mhm.
this definitely seems like there's gonna be more going on behind the scenes and things you can't necessarily punch your way out of with like
Yeah.
crowds turning on him and stuff like that. So I definitely think they're gonna have to lean into some of the other ways Superman uses, and his most underrated power, which is hope.
Yes. Yeah. Man, I'm just my mind is just swirling with theories because currently there's a theory that like that character that's currently being named Ultraman is like a clone of of Superman created by Lex Luthor, who I hope eventually deteriorates into Bizarro. I'm wondering if if they do the thing that I think they should have done in BVS, where like Luthor creates a clone and then like has that clone do bad things to frame Superman and to turn the turn the world against him. Like that just feels like such an easy thing to do, and it just you know I want him to do it. But even if it's not that, I think it's gonna be a good movie. That's what I was
Yeah,
looking at that.
I feel confident in it so far, and I'm just really excited for it to come out because I kind of want to see it too.
Hmm. Okay. Last story I have. So back in 2016, when Jason Momoa was cast as Aquaman, you, I, and the rest of the planet had a collective, huh? Because we were confused as to why he wasn't cast as a different comic book character. Which
Oh,
comic
is
book
it?
character was that?
Ooh, I
You're
know.
the back, you.
It was Lobo.
Yes. And James Gunn agrees. Jason Momoa has been cast as Lobo for the Supergirl movie.
Thank you.
Yes.
See, this is what you take your layups when they're presented. It's like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
this makes all the sense in the world. Hey, I would also like to play this character. You know what? You got a deal. There it is.
Yeah.
Like
And
perfect casting.
I've seen a lot of weird people on Twitter being like, "Oh, this entire universe is nothing but fan casting." Well, sometimes the fans get it right. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, like again, like not every single not every single fan cast is good, but I mean
no.
that's a slam dunk. That's like
Yeah.
the whole like Viola Davis, Amanda Waller thing. Like,
Mm,
it's one of those where you're just like, yeah. like,
yeah. Like, yeah, of
like
course.
you don't really have to think about it.
I am terrible with names. Benedict Cumberbatch. Of course, Benedict Cumberbatch should be Doctor Strange. Yeah, that works just
Right.
fine. Like
Yeah.
there's.
Well, it's like usually if somebody looks the part already
Mhm,
and then has other examples of them like playing a character with similar personality traits or actions or whatever and doing that character well, it
mhm,
works. Because like for me, it's like Viola Davis. Like I don't know if you've ever seen How to Get Away with Murder,
mhm,
but basically that's the show that most people originally know Viola Davis for because she plays this like cold-blooded, calculated law
mhm,
professor, and basically what she does is like really sketchy, really cold stuff for the greater good. Which if that ain't Amanda Waller, that ain't
yep.
it's over. And again, I mean she some barely looks the part as far as like she's a black woman, does plays very scary very well, like
Mhm,
calculated scary very well. Like it was a perfect casting. And in the same way, Jason Momoa is a giant dude with a lot of energy and already kind of talks like Lobo in real life.
yeah.
So it
He
kind of just
like
like, yeah, just do that.
yeah, like he Jason Momoa has wanted to play Lobo his entire life. Like legitimately, when he auditioned for Batman v Superman, he thought he was auditioning to play Lobo. Like he's got an interview saying like, I went in there, like it was just a generic DC casting call. I went in there, like, I thought they would get me to play Lobo, but then Zack Snyder said Aquaman. I was like, okay, I'll do that too. But like, I thought it'll be Lobo. And you can clearly tell that because he played Aquaman as at least in Justice League as if he were playing Lobo. Like he yelled at everything, like he just had super high energy, like just very gruff voice. Like it was not Aquaman at all outside of just being holding a I guess Quentin technically, and being able to talk to fish. Like that was the only thing that made him Aquaman.
And like, and he didn't even like lean into it. He's like, this is kind of like, it's like if Lobo was given Aquaman's powers. He's like, it's kind of dumb, but I guess I'll use
Yeah,
it. Kind of there.
yeah. So considering this guy has wanted to play the character, yeah, people are gonna fan cast him as the character that he wants to play and would be perfect for.
And look already fits the look for like you would have to make someone else look more like Jason Momoa to play Lobo. So why not just
Yeah,
get Jason Momoa to do it?
exactly. It's like if they end up do casting Alan Ritchson, the guy that plays Reacher, as
Mm.
Aquaman, which people have been fan casting for years. He actually played Aquaman on Smallville. Like if that happened, I don't want to hear people complaining that it's just he's just picking fan casts because that makes sense. A super ripped blonde guy should be Aquaman.
And again, like if it looks good and the acting is good, does it matter if other people like if it's a
No,
slam dunk? Other people should like be able to be like, hey, this would be a good idea. It's like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean they're wrong. Like, yeah, like I'm not saying
no.
fans always know, but like sometimes the obvious answer hits you in the face.
Yeah, that is that, that's true, and you know, just off of that alone, I'm excited to for the Supergirl movie. Like,
Yeah.
I, I think the the girl that they got to they're getting to play Supergirl. She's her first breakout role was in House of the Dragon, which I haven't seen, but apparently she does great in that. She, I'm sure she'll do a great job as Supergirl, but like she doesn't. What's the best way to say it without sounding mean? You know how people from Australia and Britain have like a specific like kind of like face to them, where you just look at them, you know they're British or Australian. she
Mm-hmm.
she she, she kind of has that. Not that she doesn't look good, but just she doesn't look like David Cornswett's cousin. Let's put it that way. It's kind of hard to believe them together would be cousins, but like regardless, I think she'll do a good job.
Yeah.
Especially with Lobo hunting her throughout the movie. That's just a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, you won't be thinking about it. And again, I mean, the biggest thing is, for Supergirl is, blonde, probably just kind of usually smaller in stature just because
Mm,
like, you're Kryptonian, doesn't matter if you're like 5'4", 110 pounds, you can still throw a building.
yeah,
And then, and
yeah.
just like, I think it'll be fine. I get it. She's a great actress. I mean, she somewhat looks the part, so I mean that's all that really matters.
Mm, yeah, she's 5'5". She's also younger at 24, like that, and
Yeah,
blonde and a girl. Those are all that's
there you
good.
go. It's in the
Yep.
name.
Mhm. Um, so yeah, I like currently as of this point, I think James Gunn has made largely all of the best decisions. Like obviously we haven't seen any of them pan out yet, but like
Right.
Creature Commandos is very good from what I've seen so far. The first trailer for Superman made that movie look like a good movie. All the casting choices make sense. Like, you know, I just, I have hope. I know it's corny, but I
Yeah.
have hope for this.
No, as you should. And again, I mean, it seems like James Gunn's been adamant saying he's trying to really like, you know, do it the like comic accurate, as it should be kind of way with a lot of this stuff. And so
Mhm.
far, I'm kind of seeing that, so I'm on board. And that's kind of what we've been
Absolutely.
asking for the better part of 10 years now. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, as of next year would be 10 years since like casting for BVS, is being announced. So, yeah. Wild. Okay. I think that's all the news and stuff I have here. Anything else you want to bring up or discuss?
Oh, that like
Yeah.
was it Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man trailer
Oh
dropped?
yeah.
Did you see that?
I saw that it came out. I didn't actually watch the trailer. the show is coming out in like a couple of weeks, so I don't really like
Yeah,
care
that's
to
fair. I
watch
mean,
trailers for it. Like the animation's a
yeah, I
little
mean,
weird, but it's not. I think it might work. I don't know. I'll have to really see it.
it definitely has like moving comic book energy, which is kind of good, but also kind of hurts your eyes if you look at it too long. But it might just take some adjusting.
Yeah.
But not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, there's some stuff. I mean, as it comes out, I'm sure we'll talk about it. But again,
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah. We shall. Okay, so over the next couple of weeks, we'll do our yearly recap of best comic book stuff of this year, and then our most anticipated things of the next year, which I'm sure we'll talk about Superman more then as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Happy New Year, everybody, and we'll see you all next year.
Take care.